All right, welcome back to the shop. So I've already put out one video on this vehicle that I'm working on. This is a DAF. My first video, I was calling it a DAF, and then somebody thankfully corrected me and told me it's just called DAF. So this is the DAF. It's a 66YA. It's a military vehicle that was made for the Dutch military. It's based off of a regular car. They made a sedan, a coupe, and like a station wagon. Back in from 1967 to like 1974, and then Volvo actually ended up buying the car off of them and started making the Volvo 66. But this is a little different than the family car. It was specifically built for the military, and it was changed. It's convertible. It has doors, but they're just soft doors, like a metal frame soft door. Instead of no top, like a regular car would have. So the body is a little bit different. It's really cool. It's got the belt drive, constant velocity transmission. It's got 3 parts of the transmission. So I've done a lot of research on this. I actually found a Haynes manual on it. So in this video, I can actually get a little more specific and accurate on some of the stuff that it has. So basically on the back of this engine, it's a little Renault 4-cylinder. I think it's 1100 cc. There's a clutch in here, and this clutch is controlled centrifugally, so by engine RPM. So when it's at an idle, the clutch is not engaged. When it gets up to 1100 RPMs, the clutch engages, and then it has some weird things with the vacuum system where it kind of changes how the transmission stuff works depending on if you're hitting the brakes, descending a hill. So it helps it to like kick into like a sort of a lower gear, and also like downhill to help it kind of like an engine braking kind of thing. So there's 3 sections. We have on the back of the bell housing, we have the clutch, goes through the drive tube here, and then it goes to the transmission primary transmission, which I have the cover on now. If you go to my old video, you can see it with the cover off. And then there's the secondary transmission and the differential. Some of the early ones didn't have a differential, and the YA50s, or the DAF 50s didn't have, or the 55s, I'm sorry, didn't have a differential. They just, because they have the 2 clutches, or the 2 belts, they use the belts as the differential type of unit. But this has 2 belts going into it. I guess they run together, and then you have a differential. Got a leaf spring suspension in the rear, torsion bar suspension in the front. So when this came to me, it wasn't running. I went through it and found a lot of things wrong, a lot of things that were done wrong, actually. We got the ignition system fixed, we got the fuel system fixed. Actually had a new fuel tank made because the old one had a bunch of rust in it. I was working on cleaning it up, and then the owner decided let's just go with an aluminum tank. So I did that. I had that made. It came out pretty good. So I got the fuel tank fixed, the fuel filter fixed, the fuel pump fixed, the carburetor. I took it all apart, soaked it in my ultrasonic cleaner for about 3 hours with some Purple Power. Got it cleaned up really good, put it back together, resealed it all, and it adjusted it, and it works really good. It starts up really good. So I'm happy with that. The coil was bad, and it's funny, in the box of stuff that came with this, this coil was in there. So I don't know if someone tried changing the coil or what, thinking that was the problem, but that wasn't the problem. It was a lot of other things, and the new coil they put on actually was bad. It wasn't actually new, it was an older one, but you could tell it came off something else because it was painted different. So we got all that, and yeah, the distributor cap, I had the wrong distributor cap, had a lot of problems. I went through all of them, and now it just fires up. It starts super easy. It runs good, it revs up good, has good power, everything works good on it. So there were some parts I needed that I didn't have. I just got them today. It took me a couple of weeks to get some of these parts because they have to come from the Netherlands. The hazard switch, the 4-way flasher switch, it took some work to figure out what it was, and I found out that is what it is. It's broken, it's mechanically broken. It won't turn on all the way, and it does some weird things. So I was able to get one of those off the site. The brake switch, when I went through to fix all the lights, none of the lights worked when I got it, just the headlights, but I got all the tail lights working, blinkers working, everything working. The brake lights were working, and they quit, and it started blowing the fuse, and I tracked it down to the brake light switch was shorted out to ground, so that either one of these short to ground. So when I hook the power wire up that's going to go, for the brakes, to supply the switch, it would snap the fuse. So I just got this. I'm going to put the new brake switch in. These are the backup light bulbs. I know they look like glass fuses, but they're not. They're light bulbs. So I'll get those in. I don't know if they're going to work yet. I haven't even tested that system yet. But the bulbs, one was missing and one was burned out. So we'll get those in. And then I was talking to the owner. I told him, hey, I'm almost done. This is what I have coming for it. And then after watching the first video, he saw that the exhaust system was rusted out, and he wanted me to change it while I had it here. So first thing I did, I took it to a place here in Temecula called Branch Muffler. The guys are all, yeah, we can do it. We can help you. You know, they measured it up, and so they can get a muffler to put in there. 4 or 5 days goes by. They don't call me back. I call them. They can, oh, yeah, we'll call you on Tuesday. Tuesday comes and goes. They didn't call me. So I called them back, and then he just said, yeah, I can't find a muffler that'll fit in there. So it seems pretty simple to me. It's a simple exhaust system. So I went back on the website for DAF Hobby, and they had a full exhaust system on there and a really good price. I mean, like cheaper than it was going to cost me to get it done at the muffler shop. And I can install an exhaust system. I mean, that's pretty simple. So here's the old exhaust system. You can see it's just, pretty rusty. First, I didn't think it was really bad, but then when the owner was watching a video that I posted on YouTube month and a half ago or so, he noticed that it was rusted out pretty bad, so he asked me if I'd change it. There's some rust holes coming through in this, either, I don't know if it's a secondary muffler or a resonator, whatever it is. So, all right, here it is. I've got the exhaust in. Wasn't too bad. Had to heat it up and bend it a little bit here, do a little adjustment so it wouldn't rub on this cross member. Had to do a little bit of welding on this one here. It didn't come with that clamp, and the old one that was actually welded there too. It had a clamp and was welded, but I had to weld it because I wanted to get it back into shape. I had to put a spacer there between the cross member and a jack up on it here, so I could weld it and get it to stay in shape. Otherwise this end was dipping down too hard. It's clamped here. It's got the rubber brackets on the way up. It's got a part. The other one was funny. It had a tailpipe went straight out, and you could see it had a hole in the body before from this rubber mount here, and this one was all set up for it. The way it all set up, it wouldn't match up to that hole, so I just had to add a new hole. Shouldn't be a big deal, but the exhaust went in nice. It looks good. In fact, that tailpipe looks way better than the other one, I think, the way it comes out that way. Yeah, so here's the old stuff here. Look at this one, this rear piece. This junk just dumped out of the tailpipe. You can hear it shake all the junk inside. It's a really good thing we did change this, so I'm glad he suggested it. And it's gonna be a lot better now with the new exhaust. All right, so here's the gas tank that I had made for this. What I did is I just took the old tank down to these guys down at Steel Nuts. And Alex down there did a great job on this thing. He fabbed it up. The only thing I had to change on it after I got it back from him was the filler neck. Just the geometry didn't come out quite right, but he didn't have the car when he made it, so I think he did a very good job considering he just kind of did what I told him. He welded the mount for the sender on there, the filler neck, of course. We put a 1/4-inch bung on the bottom, to get the fuel out. I do need to get a new grommet for around here. That's one thing I did forget to get. We just got a screw-on cap. I mounted a breather up inside of here. So this tank is not going to have any problems like the old one had. It's not going to rust out. This thing should last forever in here. And I think it looks great. So I'll put a link on the bottom of the video for these guys that made the tank for me. Alex is the one that made the tank. I've been dealing with Josh over there on these bars I've had made, and I was dealing with Alex on this last one. And it's Steel Nuts. I think it's like Steel Nuts Off-Road or something like that. They're over here in Marietta, California, and they make some really cool off-road vehicles, total tube frames. They do all kinds of really cool stuff in there. So I'll put a link to them. You can check out their website, check out their Facebook page. And, if you need anything fabbed up, these guys do beautiful work, stuff like that. Actually had everything working and fixed when I, before I found the book, but I found it on eBay in England, and bought it for, I think, like $10. And then the guy shipped it to me cost me another $10 to ship it to me. And so it's really good for just to get the extra information and just to double check on things that I did to make sure that I was right with them. So this is kind of cool. So I'll send this book off to the owner along with the vehicle when I send it back. So I thought I was all done with this DAF, and I put it on the lift for one more inspection before it was to be shipped back to the owner, and this primary transmission had started leaking. It was leaking out of the input shaft right here. So I ordered up a seal kit from the Netherlands, took just the primary section down, had to tear it apart, changed all the seals. There must have been 20 seals in this stupid thing. It's really weird the way it works. It's got this vacuum system with these little diaphragms, these vacuum kind of pots in here, and then a centrifugal weight. And the vacuum things just go to little vacuum things on the secondary ones. So maybe it assists it or whatever. I'm not exactly sure how it works, but probably assists the spacing on the pulleys, as it changes speed, due to speed. So anyways, I still have to fill it up with oil. The oil just got here. I got to fill it up with gear oil. And then I'm working on adjusting the belts. It sounds like these belts here need to be flush with the outside of the pulley here on the secondary. So I'm gonna lower it down, drive it a little bit, and then put it back up and see if these things come back into place, because I can't get them to move, to get into place. So we'll see how that goes. So once I got it apart, I found one of the diaphragms was just coming apart. There's a big chunk of rubber was peeled off of it, laying inside of the drum or whatever they call it. And then seals like this were just so hard. I mean, this thing was actually hard to get out. I couldn't dig it out. I had to dig it apart and get chunks off of it just to get the snap ring off, just to be able to get to this thing. And some of the seals weren't too bad, but a lot of them were just crusty hard. So this thing's been together for a long time. So hopefully that makes this thing run better, stop leaking. Also, I changed the belts while I was in there. The belts don't look really all super bad to me. I mean, they look okay. They are a little hard, a little stiff. So these are Volvo brand belts that were on it. This is actually, factory part, which is cool. The ones I put on are a different brand. I forget what they are. Continental, which Continental makes really good stuff. So, but I wanted to put fresh belts on while I had this thing, all the work I had to do to take it apart and get this thing back running again. The last thing I wanted was for it to go to the owner, and next spring he's driving this thing and it craps out a belt. So that's about it. All right, so I took it out for a drive and I was able to finally get these belts to adjust upright. The problem was up here the casting broke, and somebody made this plate and this thing was just all rusted up. It was that was holding me up. That's why I couldn't get this thing to move. But I finally got it. Where these are almost at the top of the pulley, and they have a gap inside here. You're supposed to be able to gap it with a feeler gauge, and it's still a little bit wider than the spec. Not much, but I'm as far as I could go. I'm at the end of the adjustment, so I'm just assuming these belts are going to wear in just a little bit. That's going to fix the problem. It does say after 3,000 miles, after putting new belts on, to readjust them after 3,000 miles. So I'm assuming that's what that's all about. Okay, I've got the plastic pans up. Everything's clean, there's no drips. I got it adjusted really good. You can see the new exhaust I put under here. The exhaust changed all the way from the collector right at the manifold all the way to the tailpipe. I was able to buy that from a company called DAF Hobby. I ordered this up and I think I got this thing in about a week. And that's not bad, the size of this exhaust system shipping all the way from the Netherlands to me. So I was also able to buy the belts, the seal kit for the transmission from him. I bought the switches I needed, for the dash. I bought a lot of stuff from him, actually. He's been really good, really responsive. And so if you're working on one of these DAFs, he's the guy to see. It's like I said, I'll put a link at the bottom of the video. So I thought I had all the filming done on this DAF. I thought I had it all done. I called the owner. It's ready to go. You can set up, the transport, have him come pick it up. He had it all set up. He had another vehicle here that he was picking up as well, so we had it set up for both. The day before it was supposed to be picked up, I took it for another test run, and the radiator took a dump on me. The filler neck on here, a big chunk of the flange on the filler neck just was gone. I don't know what happened to it. I heard part of it inside rattling inside, and then also part of the cap had rotted away inside the little flange, the copper flange up inside, or brass flange, whatever it is. So I had to take the radiator off. I took it to a local shop. They're up here in Temecula. They do heavy equipment, radiators and stuff like that. They also do small stuff. So he took it and he was just going to weld a flange on it, but I told him, you know, check it out, see what it's like. He ended up taking the whole thing apart and rotting out the cores. He cleaned it all out, reassembled it, painted it, put a new filler neck on there. Radiator's great. I was test running it today. I ran this thing hard, and it was about 95. Well, it's 99 degrees right now. I'm looking at the thermometer. It was about 95 degrees when I had it out, and it did not get hot at all. In fact, when I pulled it back in the shop, opened the hood, and it was nice. It didn't feel hot. It didn't have a heat smell or nothing like that. So that radiator is working great. So other than that, now it's ready to go. I ran the crud out of it today. I actually filmed a video, which will be a separate video, of me doing a road test on this thing. And I hope now it is done. I'm going to call the owner, tell him to please come get it. He can take it home, ship it home, and he can play with it, have fun with it. And if other things come up on it, then he can send it back and we'll do some more work to it. But as for now, that's all that I think I need to do to have this thing running. He shipped it to me because they couldn't get it running. Their shop out there, whoever it was out there, they couldn't get the thing to start. They couldn't get it to run. Shipped it to me, got it all running, fixed everything. Ended up doing quite a bit more than I even thought that we were going to be doing to this thing, just because I kept finding more stuff. All right, well, thank you for watching my videos on this DAF. It was a real pleasure working on this car, and I really appreciate the owner of this car trusting me to work on it for him. He shipped it out here to me from the East Coast to do this work on it, and it's been a fun project. It's a really neat little car, fun to drive. I know when he gets this thing home, he's going to have a really good time driving this thing. He'll get it home in time for the fall colors, so he can take his wife and go drive and watch the colors change. And this would be a great car to do it in, with no roof, no doors. How awesome will that be? So anyways, thanks for watching. I really appreciate you guys watching. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Share it with a friend. And please hit that notification bell so you'll know when other videos come up. This is the third video I've done on this car here. So you just never know when I'm doing a video. I don't put them out regularly every week like some people do, just because it only works out with my schedule when I'm done with something or if I'm working on something to be able to show it. I have this coming up. I'm almost done with this. About 2 more weeks on this project, and this XR311 will be shipping home. It'll be all done, hopefully. So anyways, please share this with a friend and hit that notification bell. Thank you.